Hi, Therapist Ball here. Listen, I've been watching the news like a lot of us, and I've been hearing a lot of bashing and attacking on the mental health system. And I understand the mental health system is messed up. We got a lot of healthcare, and our healthcare systems are often messed up. But I got to tell you something that really is bothering me is no one is talking about the system that we're tied into, that we've got our hands tied with. And that is mental health. When we see a client come in who has severe depression, for example, and we know that they could self-harm or they could do something bad to somebody else, we don't automatically have a free ticket to hold that person or force that person into medication, or we can't call the police because we've got a hunch. We've got to have clinical, justifiable reasons. Now, if I think someone's hurting a child or a child's in danger, I can call CPS and they'll go check on them. But if I call the police and say, well, this person said they were depressed, I just think you ought to swing by, they're not going to respond to that. If I said this person said they're going to go hurt themselves or hurt someone else, they will respond to that. Even in Michigan, where we have red flag laws, where things are out there to, if we believe there's potential, we can call them in. But even those are very finite about how they're enforced. I just want people to understand from the therapeutic side, the side of the, the other side of the coin. Yeah, from the client side, there have been a lot of things. I worked with agencies, and note the word worked, because I don't work with agencies anymore because of the fact that your hands are cuffed. There's things you can't even offer for clients who need help. There's things you can't even say to clients when they need help. And that's just the fact of the agency world. They've got to follow protocols and policies and all this stuff. And so you're all mad at psychiatrists and therapists for failing people. And sometimes they do. There's no doubt about it. But there's one thing I got to say is that sometimes the system itself has got us into a position where we can't help somebody. I've had many clients that I would have liked to be able to enforce medication on because they needed it. It was one of those things that literally they could hurt themselves or they could hurt somebody else. But there was no plan. There's no active identification. And we have to ask them. We have to say probe and see. We can trust our instincts and we can make some calls, but we have confidentiality laws and we have all these different layers that we've got to process for people's rights. So why the big news is all about, psychology failing and mental health systems failing, and it's true. We have a lot of faults in our system. I'm not going to play we don't. I've been told I can't do therapy for this person because of this insurance. I've been told we can't do this type of therapy for this person. That's why I got out of agency work, is because your hands are so tied by policy and government rules and what insurances will pay for and what insurances won't pay for. But the biggest thing to remember is when somebody comes into our office, we don't have the freedom to go, well, this person is severely depressed, we need to hospitalize them. That just doesn't work that way. They've got to agree to the treatment. They've got to agree to take medication. Even if they're depressed, they've still got the right to deny and refuse services. So as you watch the news and you hear about the horrible mental health system, remember, our mental health system is designed with rights in mind, and thank goodness, because back in the day, there weren't. Men could literally drive up to a mental hospital, say, my wife's crazy, and they would take her and keep her, literally for the rest of her life. So obviously, this didn't work. That was horrible. So I don't think we got to understand that. I understand people are mad. People are frustrated with what we've heard and seen, and it does sound bad in some cases. But in other cases, from a therapist side, I understand your hands are tied. We can't force mental health on anybody. I worked with homeless populations in one agency, and you can't force them to keep on their meds. You can't force them to come take the shots. You can't force them to go to the doctor. You can't force people to do something, even if it's going to be detrimental to themselves and even potentially others necessarily. So while you're hearing about all the horribles of mental health, let's keep in mind that we have rules and laws we have to follow. And I mean, detailed laws. It's always changing, always updating. So when you think about the failed system, yes, we have flaws. Our health system has flaws. Our mental health system has flaws. But remember, the people doing the work may be flawed, but they're also handcuffed when someone comes in who needs help, but we can't force it. So just keep that in mind as you hear all the stuff that's coming out. Mental health has boundaries. We can't do something unless the client generally is willing to do it.